Hi folks, and welcome to DJ Living's Fantasy Premier League. Right folks, we're now into week 20 and this is another week which is prolonged as well. So tonight's game, I'm videoing this on Wednesday, tonight's game, tomorrow's game won't be counting at the moment towards the figures. But at the moment, just after half time, Man United are winning 1-0 with Fernandes has got another goal and an Eriksen assist. So keep an eye on that game and keep an eye on tomorrow's game as well, which obviously is the Man City Spurs game. Big game for me. I've got a feeling that's going to be another loss for Spurs. But anyway, let's quickly run through the DJ Living's League. For the first time for a while, Gary Britton has slipped off the top spot and he's slipped down to third. Daniel Madabula managed 58 points so far for 1150. Then George Vasilakis 1149 and Garrett 1146. At the time of filming this on the Wednesday, let's have a look. We got Mo Fati, Haider Sharul is the best score this week, 68 points. He's down in 30th place at the moment with that, so he's pushing himself up a few places with his 68 points so far, obviously with the 2 games left to go. And we've got a Mo Fati has got 66 points and he's in 20th place at the moment. My league, my team that I told you about has dropped from the top 2 spots in the last couple of weeks, has dropped down to 15th position, so I've dropped another 1 or 2 places. So not looking good for me, and my DJ Living team is even lower. It's down in 22nd at the moment, so another poor week this week as well. So let's crack on and look through last week's results. So we start off with Aston Villa, a 2-1 win over Leeds. That's a good win for Villa. They're starting to pull a few together at the moment, but Leeds are looking a bit shaky. Man United 2, Man City 1. Anyone that watched the game, controversial goal for Fernandes. Should it have stood or not? Personally, I don't think it should have, but it did, and they won 2-1. Makes the league more interesting. Brighton 3, Liverpool 0. Talking about league looking interesting. Big win for Brighton, that one. And Liverpool look very, very shaky. Whether they'll get into Europe at all this year is a question, let alone the top 4. Everton 1-up in that game, ended up losing 2-1. Not looking good at Everton at the moment with the supporters. Forest 2, Leicester 0. Wolves 1, West Ham 0. West Ham also being pulled really into that relegation zone at the moment. Brentford 2, Bournemouth 0. Chelsea 1, Palace 0. Newcastle 1, Fulham 0. Newcastle are really looking good this year. And then Spurs 0, Arsenal 2. Disappointed as a result as a Spurs fan, but I have got 2 Arsenal players in my fantasy team, defenders, so clean sheets for both of those was a plus. So let's look at the 4 players I recommended. Very shaky week for me this week. Obviously started off in goal with Ward from Leicester, conceding 2 against Forest, only managed 2 points. Defender Schaaf, Newcastle, they got the clean sheet, so 6 points for him. Almiron, only 3 points. And Mbeumo, 2 points for Brentford. I know they won 2-0, but even Tony was back a lot quicker than people expected. Only missed a couple of games, so he was in and he actually scored as well. So Mbeumo was pushed out a bit wider and didn't actually get the score sheet, so he got 2 points. But yeah, that's probably a poor week for my 4 choices, but we'll see what I pick later on for next week's games. Not done it for a few weeks, but let's have a look at the top players at the moment. So Haaland is still top 146 points. No surprise there, but Trippier is now second, 133 points. Push Kane down to third place on 129. Odegaard now is the top midfielder with 112 points there. And then even Tony from Brentford and Almiron on 109 points. Now it's time for that team of the week. Right, starting Ramsdale in goal with 11 points for Arsenal with that 2-0 win. And then 2 Newcastle defenders, Trippier and Byrne, and Kilman from Wolves, all on 9 points, along with Colwill from Brighton on 8 points. There was a few players on 8 points, but obviously he was as I've always said, he was the lowest cost 8-pointer, so he went into the team of the week. Next midfield, this one's annoying for me. March from Brighton got 19 points. He sat on my bench for this week against Liverpool. I didn't expect him to do that well, so I left him on the bench. He got 19 points. Ward-Prowse for Southampton managed 15 points, and then Bailey from Aston Villa with 12 points. The three strikers this week, Johnson from Nottingham Forest, 12 points, and then Even Tony and Che Adams from Brentford and Southampton got 9 points each. Right, as I say, there's still 2 more games to play in this game week 20, but let's look forward to week 21 with just a normal weekend's fixture list this weekend. So starting off with Liverpool-Chelsea, big game for both teams. Liverpool obviously have not been performing well this season. They have got a lot of injuries though, but so have Chelsea. Both teams are ridden with injuries at the moment, but both teams need to pick up if they're going to push for that European places. Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest next up, then Leicester, Brighton, Southampton, Aston Villa, West Ham, Everton. Another good big game there for both them clubs, both down there in the mire at the moment. Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Leeds, Brentford, Man City, Wolves, and then 2 big games at the end, Arsenal, Man United, and Fulham, Spurs. Some interesting fixtures this week. There's only really a couple of big games with the Arsenal, Man United, and Liverpool, Chelsea games. There's a lot of mediocre kind of teams at the moment. Some are performing better than they should do, really, with Brighton and Newcastle in particular. But Brighton as well pushing for a good finish this year. Maybe even getting into Europe ahead of some of the big boys. But there's a lot of clubs that really can be pulled into that relegation quite quickly. You're looking at West Ham, Everton, Southampton, Villa, Leeds. There's some big name clubs that can really be pulled into that bottom. So they've got to be careful with some of these fixtures that are coming up at the moment. So starting off in goal, I've got Raya from Brentford. He's performed really well this year for Brentford, and he cost 4.6 million. They're away to Leeds, and Leeds are struggling this year. So we'll see how that goes. Defence, I've got Lewis Dunk. Brighton, I thought they might falter a little bit after Potter left, but the new manager, and I can't remember his name at the moment, he's really pulled the team together, and they're performing well. Lewis Dunk is 4.7 million for a defender, and they're away to Leicester. Next, a player I've picked quite regularly, Almiron. Like I say, he's the second best midfielder in the league, but still at 5.9 million for a midfielder is a very good value for money for a midfielder. So they're away to Palace, and then finish off with Che Adams. I know he was in Team of the Week last week, but I think they're away to Villa this week. 6.3 million for a striker. If you need him for 1 week, or if you need him for the next few weeks, depending on their fixture list, he can be a good choice. Right, folks, and that's it for another week. Short and sweet one. This is the sort of length I'd like to keep them. Last week obviously was a bit different because I'd missed a couple of weeks, but anyway, guys, like I say, if you are enjoying the videos at all, please subscribe to the channel. It all helps. Give us a thumbs up, share on your social medias and any Fantasy Premier League groups you're in, and give me a comment below if there's anything you'd like me to change, or anything you'd like to see different, or even looking to next year. And like I say, one of the ideas I've got for next year is running 2 leagues, one the classic league like this, and one a head-to-head league. But that's more to fire towards the end of the season anyway. So anyway, guys, great to talk to you again, and I'll catch up with you next week.